Hi everyone, I'm Tony Jackson. Here is your weekly reading for the week of 26th of Feb through to the 4th of March 2018. This week I'm actually very excited. We're going to work with the Talking to Heaven Mediumship cards by Doreen Virtue and James Van Prague. A very lovely card deck to open you up to receiving messages from your deceased loved ones, friends, relatives who are on the other side. It can help you to connect with them quite good actually, because you kind of just focus on who you want to get a message from, shuffle them and pull a card, and often it's relating to what you need to know from them, and you kind of can start to begin to feel some communication with your deceased loved ones, because what happens is we often have a lot of grief, which is understandable, and that grief can actually stop you from getting the messages from the ones that you want to get the message from. And it's understandable. We all go through a grief process, sometimes with different people more than others. Sometimes when death happens suddenly, we have a huge shock, which is understandable, and that they've left the physical, and the grieving process can take a long time. But in what I'm saying for this is that over a longer period, the grieving, and you take as long as you like to grieve, as long as you need, but the grieving and the negative emotions associated with grieving long term could possibly begin to block any communication. So what I'm doing now is trying to encourage you to open up to communicate with your loved ones when you're ready and receive messages for them. The grieving and the grief and the negative emotions that we feel can often block it long term if they're trying to come through to you. Because if, for example, we're on a negative emotion about somebody dying, about the death process, about losing them, and of course, if it's happened suddenly or something, you're going to have that. But I'm talking about longer term, and you're looking to get a message from them yourselves. The negative energies and emotions that you may be continually feeling may block you because they're on a higher level, a higher energy level, and they're kind of more in happiness and kind of like a higher self energy where they're constantly in more love. They don't have the physical body, and it makes it a little bit difficult for them to communicate to you when you're, in the case of them, you might be happy in other areas of your life, but when you think about them and feel them, the negative emotions and the sorrow and the grief can actually block them from talking to you and getting the message from them in the non-physical. I'm not saying you're not supposed to grieve. I'm just saying that the communication, if you want to communicate with them, the grieving can be stopping you, because you can imagine if they're coming close to you in the non-physical and you're sad, they're going to go, oh, this is too sad, she doesn't want to talk to me, and go away. They don't always identify as the sadness. They can get through if they want to. They can get through if they want to. But if you want to hear what they've got to say, you may have to look at healing some of your grief, or just being able to put it into perspective. So, and it's quite interesting when you do, because the next step would be that you actually ask them to send you a sign. So pick somebody that you know's died and you know would probably want to talk to you or get a message through to you, and just say, okay, I'm open to receive a message or a sign. And what I feel first of all would happen, you may already be getting something even if you have got some grief, because they'll often do it at a time when you're not thinking about them, and they'll pop a message in your head, usually a song, or they'll pop something in your pathway like a feather, or you might see a butterfly, which they know will remind you of them. And it'll be quite subtle. You'll almost think, oh, that reminds me of them. Was it them or was it not? You may even see them walking in the street and think, oh gosh, that person suddenly looked like somebody that had died. That's because they're coming through very subtly, because they know you've got a grief for them, or they know you're sad and they wanted to still get a message through. So they come through quite subtly, and you almost don't really fully recognize if it's them or not. They're really taking care of you in a way, so they realize that you've got grief, and they also want to communicate with you. But unfortunately, we don't pick up on that subtlety, and because it's not a strong sign, we often disregard it. But if you are getting subtle signs, and it could be anything, there's so many ways they'll communicate to you in any subtle way that they can. if you are getting a subtle sign, just remember it. What will happen is you'll almost think, is it them or is it not them? Take it as a yes, it is them. Ask them, thank you for that sign. I'm ready for something a little bit stronger or a little bit more definite that it's you. Please give me a stronger sign. Now, when you're asking for that stronger sign, you've got to be a little bit brave because it can go into your emotions and bring up more grief. And I'm not trying to make you more upset, but I am trying to open you. I'd love people to open up more to communicating with their loved ones. And when you're asking for that stronger sign, that will kind of become a little bit challenging where more grief comes up, and just sort of deal with it the way you can. If you're fine, you may be fine, you may have no problems with it, then you can say, oh, thank you, I really know that was you, that really feels like you. Can we take now the communication a step further? And this might happen over a longer period of time. It might not happen, it won't happen in one day. Give it time, let them send you the sign, and you just be open to many different ways that they can communicate with you. If you've asked, they will send something. Now, this can actually bring up fear because you might wonder, well, how do I know if it's them or not? It could be somebody else. That's kind of up to you to work with. If it comes through as something else, you'll know it. And you'll also definitely know if it's them because you'll feel it in your heart. So, yeah, that's the thing. If you're getting a subtle sign, say, thank you. Can you send me something a little stronger so I know it's you? And when you get that stronger sign, just think, oh gosh, that's brought up some grief. I feel too sad. It was too quick. And then you just kind of deal with your grief in your own time. And then you might come back to asking for a sign again. You might have to deal with a little bit of fear, but you'll be on your way to communicating with them. They could come through in dreams and talk to you. And then it's a matter of remembering what they told you in the dream. What's interesting for this week is they actually said we actually need to heal the relationship between us in the physical and them in the non-physical. So now you still have a relationship. You still have a relationship. You're in the physical and they're in the non-physical. So they suggested that we work with my guides. I did introduce myself. I usually say welcome to my YouTube channel. What I do before each reading is just tune in a little bit and see what I need to talk about specifically, and also I often receive a little bit of guidance on what I'm to make the video about. And I was guided towards the talking to Heaven Mediumship cards, and talking a little bit about opening up to communication. And the bit I was going to get to now is that we still have a relationship within the non-physical. There is an archangel called the Archangel Raguel, and Raguel helps you with relationships in the physical. And also, I was told today that it can help you with relationships with you in the physical and them in the non-physical. Archangel Raguel, please help me open up and getting used to my friend or relative that's now in the non-physical. Raguel can help you with that. So that will help with your communication, your messages, helping with you with your grief and understanding how the relationship is still continuing even though they've unfortunately passed over. So in often cases they can do a lot more for you in the non-physical than they can do in the physical. And part of the reason some people do leave us suddenly is because they need to get their work started straight away on the physical, and there's no time to waste, and they've decided that they're going to go out in a hurry because they want to continue their life in the non-physical where they can actually help you more. Now, I know it sounds weird because you think, well, I want them in the physical, but just be open to the new relationship that you now have with this person in the non-physical. Archangel Raguel, please help me understand this relationship with my person, my friend, relative that's now in the non-physical, meaning they've died, because there is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful value to connecting with your friends and relatives that are now in the non-physical. They can do a lot for you, and that is the biggest message and gift that I can give you today. Archangel Raguel, please help me understand my relationship now with my friend or relative in the non-physical. So that's what the message is for this week. to actually heal the relationship that you now have with your friend or relative that's in the non-physical, because it continues forever. You've just got to adjust your being, your mind, your sensitivities, your energy to them now in the non-physical, because they're still there, they still want to help you, and there's still a great value to remain connected with them. And it's an amazing experience if you can tap into receiving messages yourself. So that's the big message for this week. Archangel Raguel, please help me understand my relationship now with my friend or relative in the non-physical. I'm going to choose a card and just see what additional information the cards have for us. What I do with each of my card readings is place it to my heart, the card deck, whatever card deck I'm using. I visualize or bring down a column of universal energy or white light. And by connecting with that white light and universal energy, I actually bond with the cards, form a relationship with the cards. It's like they become vibrational tools rather than physical cards. And by vibrational tools, you begin, by using them as vibrational tools, you're actually reading an energy rather than kind of a physical card. So it creates in-depth insight over time if you use that. And I ask that the message comes through as the highest and best for everybody watching. Lovely cards. And let's see. It helps you to understand the connection with your friends and relatives that have crossed over, these cards do. See? I'm so much better now. That's exactly what we're talking about. So many messages, that's spot on for what we are. I'm going to actually read some of the guidebook for that, because there may be some information that we need to know. So this is in the guidebook. I'm just going to read that quickly. I know you worry about me. This is kind of your relative speaking to you. And you wonder how much I have suffered in my life and now in my passing. But you and I would feel so much better, though, if you would focus on the present. I promise you that I feel 1,000,000% better now that I am here. Your love for me is a true miracle, especially after all that we went through together. I value and honor you and your love more than you'll ever know. Now that I'm out of the physical body, what we were talking about, now that I'm out of the physical body, there is no more pain or suffering. We do have the memory if they were going through pain or suffering, but they're not in pain or suffering, but I am free. My mind is also healthy, as I no longer have to worry about any of the stressful parts of the earth life. Truly, the only thing that would make me happier is for you to be happy. As much as you pray for me, I pray for your happiness too, and I love you. See, the messages are just beautiful from that card deck. Talking to Heaven, Doreen Virtue, James Van Prague. Now, let's just check in and see if I need to mention anything else. That just ties in perfectly with what we were talking about, that card. So I did get the sense we actually have, I do cord cutting a lot in my videos. Sometimes I've done cord cutting, and especially in my groups here in Wagga Wagga, we've done cord cutting quite a number of times. And what cord cutting is, it's usually between two people in the physical, two people that you know that haven't died in the physical. You can form negative cords, and it was a matter of just asking Archangel Michael and your higher self to cut those negative cords, so it kind of frees up the energy between you and other people. Sometimes these cords can form for any reason, like if you're having a close relationship, you could have a little bit needy, or you could feel a little bit relying on somebody, or whatever. You can form a negative cord, and it's a normal thing. It happens, but you can ask them to be cut by the Archangel Michael. You can just ask, I ask the Archangel Michael to cut any negative cords of fear, any negative energy between me and anybody, and you just go like that, and the cords will be cut if you ask. I often ask Archangel Michael and higher self, cut any negative cords between me and anyone else, and it's often done for you. We can have cords with the people in the non-physical. And I thought that's very interesting too. So the part of the reason we were doing the because we have kind of a needy thing for wanting them back, which is understandable. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have these emotions, but I guess once you put them into perspective, you're going to open up to an amazing connection with your friend or relative that's now in the non-physical. It's a very powerful experience if you can sense what they can do for you and how they can still open up and communicate with you. You can have cords with them because you actually want them back in the physical, and that can create an etheric cord between you and them, which is understandable. Archangel Raguel, higher self, Archangel Michael. Raguel was the one we were using earlier to get used to them being in the non-physical. Archangel Michael and higher self, please adjust the etheric cords between me and my friend or relative that's now in the non-physical. I'm not saying a cut this time, I'm saying adjust. Archangel Michael, higher self, and Archangel Raguel, please adjust the etheric cords between me and my friend or relative in the non-physical. It's understandable you have that neediness to want them back, but it can create a cord of energy there that can weigh you down over time. Archangel Michael, Archangel Raguel, higher self, guides and angels. I'm even getting Archangel Raphael. Now, Raphael can help you with emotions. Gosh, there's a lot here, isn't there? There's a lot of angels helping us. Please help us adjust the etheric ties, because our neediness of wanting them back in the physical can weigh us down over time. Please adjust our etheric cords with those in the non-physical. Wow, what a lot of work we've done today. I'm just going to repeat that one more time. So what I was shown was we can have etheric ties between us and the friends and relatives in the non-physical, and this etheric tie can have to do with wanting them back, which is understandable, but over time it can begin to weigh down on us. We can ask our higher selves, Archangel Michael, please adjust those etheric ties between us and those in the non-physical. I guess they're going to take it away, improve the tie. Raguel was the relationship. Raziel was the one that helps with dying and understanding death and crossing over. Raphael helps us with emotions, and they're all coming in there to help us adjust those etheric ties with those ones that have crossed over. I hope that makes sense. That's a little bit new to me too, so I might get some more insight about that. The new one is Raguel, adjusting your relationship, and also the new one is about the ties that we still have. I haven't worked with that one myself before, so that's brand new, and I may get some more insight into that in the days following, and I can update you when I do that. But I'm sure that will be of benefit to you, that healing. Let me know how you go with it. If you need to contact me, just message me below where you see this video. I think we're done now. Thank you to all the angels and guides that came through for today. As it was a new process, I was kind of just putting it together as I went along, but I'm sure the effects of it will be lovely and wonderful for you if you follow those steps. Thank you, guides and angels. Thank you, higher self. Thanks to the deceased loved ones. I'm sure they're not far away and listening in and hoping we get it and understand how they wish to communicate with us. I'm going to leave you here now. I'll leave my email address, my webpage. Give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed watching this video. And I think that's all for this week. Lots of love, and we'll look forward to next week's reading, and bye for now.